chosen one, stop everything you're doing right now. I don't care if you're lying down, if you're at work, if you're walking down the street. I need you to listen to me with your full attention, because what I am about to reveal to you is not something you can half listen to while doing something else. This is serious. You did something that provoked a reaction in heaven that not even the oldest angels expected to witness. And I am not talking about something big that you planned. I am not talking about a heroic act that everyone saw. I am talking about something so small, so quiet, so intimate, that you probably don't even remember it. But they remember it. And when I say they, I am referring to beings that have existed since before time had a name. Your act left God speechless. And Michael, the archangel who defeated Lucifer, the commander of the celestial armies, the warrior who has never shown weakness before anything or anyone fell to his knees, when he saw what you did, not in defeat, in astonishment. Subscribe to this channel right now and activate all notifications, because what I am about to show you is going to permanently change how you understand every silent battle you have fought and every invisible victory you have won without anyone applauding you. Stay until the end, because I am going to reveal to you exactly what it was that you did, why it caused this unprecedented reaction, and what this means for everything that is about to manifest in your life. Write in the comments 777. If you have felt lately that something changed inside you, as if you had crossed an invisible line that separated you forever from who you used to be, let me take you to a moment you have probably forgotten. It was during one of your most difficult nights. Those nights where the weight of everything you carry feels impossible to bear one more minute, where tears fall without permission, where the silence of your room becomes a tribunal, where your own mind accuses you of all your failures. You know which night I am talking about. That night, where you considered giving up, where the voice in your head told you that none of this was worth it, that you were alone, that nobody would come to save you, that all your effort had been in vain. That night, where the darkness seemed to be right. But you did something in that moment that defied all human logic. Instead of cursing, instead of screaming at heaven asking why, instead of letting bitterness consume what remained of your hope, you chose something different. Maybe it was a whisper. Maybe it was just 3 words. Maybe you didn't even say them out loud. You just thought them from the deepest part of your destroyed chest. You said, "Thank you," or you said, "I trust you," or you simply said, "Help me." But you said it without resentment, without demand, without the poison of someone who feels abandoned. You said it with the purity of a child who knows their father listens even though he doesn't respond immediately. That moment, that exact instant where you chose faith instead of fury, where you chose surrender instead of resentment, where you chose to trust when everything screamed at you to distrust, that moment changed everything. Because what you didn't know, what you couldn't see with your human eyes, is that in the exact instant those words left your heart, something happened in dimensions your mind cannot comprehend. Your guardian angel, who had been watching your struggle in silence, respecting your free will, stopped in his tracks, because what he had just witnessed didn't follow the normal patterns of human behavior. Humans under that level of pressure break, they curse, they turn away from the divine, they question everything they once believed. But you didn't. You did exactly the opposite. And that activated a celestial protocol that only activates in extraordinary cases. Your guardian angel immediately sent a report upward, not to his immediate supervisor, not to the council of guardian angels, directly to the archangelic level, because what he had just witnessed required attention from the highest hierarchies. I need you to understand something fundamental before continuing. In the spiritual world, there exists something we could call the frequency of the soul. It is not something mystical and invented. It is simply the energetic vibration that your being emits based on your consistent choices over time. Most humans operate at what is known as reactive frequency. This means their internal state is a mirror of their external circumstances. If things go well, they feel good. If things go badly, they feel bad. Their frequency rises and falls depending on what happens to them. This is completely normal. It is the standard human experience. But there exists another frequency, a much rarer one that the ancient texts call the frequency of the chosen. This frequency is characterized by something that seems impossible: the capacity to maintain inner light independently of external circumstances, the capacity to choose love when hatred would be justified, the capacity to maintain faith when doubt would be completely reasonable. And here is where your case becomes extraordinary. That night, when you chose gratitude in the midst of your pain, when you chose trust in the midst of your desperation, when you chose to surrender to the divine instead of cursing it, you demonstrated that your frequency doesn't depend on your circumstances. You demonstrated that there is something within you that remains constant, no matter what storms surround you. And this chosen one is exactly what the observing angels look for, because anyone can be spiritual when things go well. Anyone can have faith when miracles are obvious. Anyone can be grateful when blessings are abundant. But to maintain that connection, that purity, that trust, when everything crumbles around you, that requires a level of spiritual development that isn't learned, it is brought. You brought that with you when you were born. It has been dormant inside you, waiting for the exact moment to reveal itself. And that night, without knowing it, you activated it. Let me explain what happened when your report reached the archangelic level. Michael was busy with matters of cosmic scale, battles fought in dimensions that humans cannot even imagine, strategies that affect the spiritual balance of entire regions of the planet. Archangels don't review individual cases. That is what guardian angels and their supervisors are for. The celestial hierarchy functions in an organized manner, precisely so that the highest levels can focus on matters of greater scale. But your report arrived with a classification that automatically requires archangelic review. The classification said demonstration of transcendent faith under extreme pressure. This classification is extraordinarily rare. Michael stopped what he was doing and opened your file. Now, I need to show you something you have probably never considered. Angels don't see your life the way you see it. You see a sequence of events, good days and bad days, successes and failures, moments of joy and moments of pain. Everything seems disconnected, random, sometimes meaningless. But when an archangel reviews the file of a soul, he sees something completely different. He sees the complete pattern. Every choice you have made, every reaction you have had, every moment where you had to decide between light and darkness, every crossroads where you chose one path over another. They see the tapestry, not the individual threads. They see the melody, not the isolated notes. They see the masterpiece being painted, not the random brushstrokes. And when Michael reviewed your complete pattern, when he saw not just that one night, but every night that led to it, when he observed not just that one choice, but the accumulation of choices that formed your character. What he saw left him speechless, because your pattern showed something that is incredibly rare among humans: consistency of light under progressive pressure. Most people have moments of spiritual strength, flashes of divine connection, episodes of transcendent faith. But these are temporary. When pressure increases, those moments fade. The connection weakens, the faith wavers, the light dims. It is the normal human pattern, but your pattern showed the opposite. The more pressure increased, the more you were tested. The darker your circumstances became, the brighter your light responded, the stronger your faith became, the deeper your trust grew. This is the pattern of a soul operating at a frequency that doesn't follow earthly rules. A soul whose strength doesn't come from favorable circumstances. A soul whose light isn't borrowed from external sources. A soul carrying something from before, something ancient, something eternal. Michael stood there reviewing your file for what in earthly time would be hours going back through years of your life, examining the progression, looking for the moment where this began, and what he discovered made him understand why your case required archangelic attention. Your pattern didn't start with that night. That night was just the moment where everything you had been building became undeniably visible. The pattern started years before, in smaller moments you had forgotten, moments where you chose kindness when rudeness would have been easier, moments where you chose forgiveness when resentment would have been justified, moments where you chose truth when lies would have been more convenient, moments where you chose love when indifference would have been safer. Each of those moments was a brushstroke. Each of those choices was a note in the melody. Each of those decisions was a thread in the tapestry, and together they created a pattern that told a story. The story of a soul that knows who it is, that remembers where it came from, that refuses to let circumstances define its frequency. This is what made Michael fall to his knees. Not weakness, recognition. He was witnessing a soul operating at a level of consciousness that is supposed to take multiple lifetimes to develop. And you are doing it now. In this lifetime, under these conditions, this wasn't supposed to be possible, but you are proving it is. Now, I need to tell you what happened next, because this is where things become truly extraordinary. Michael took your case directly to the Divine Council. This is a gathering that doesn't happen for individual souls. It happens for matters affecting entire soul groups, planetary transitions, cosmic alignments, massive shifts in collective consciousness. But your case was presented there not because you are more important than other souls, but because what you demonstrated has implications beyond just your personal journey. When the council reviewed your pattern, when they saw what you did under those conditions, when they understood the frequency you maintained despite everything against you, God Himself spoke about your soul, and what was said has been recorded in the eternal archives. I am going to share it with you now because you are meant to know this. The exact words were, "This one remembers not intellectually, cellularly. This one carries the frequency we intended for all of them, but so few maintain under pressure. Mark this soul. It will teach others, not through words, through being." Let me break down what each part means. This one remembers. This refers to soul memory, the knowledge that exists beyond this lifetime, the understanding that came with you when you entered this body. Most humans forget this when they are born. The veil of forgetting falls, and they have to relearn everything through earthly experience. But some souls don't completely forget. They carry fragments of remembering, echoes of truth that guide them, even when they don't consciously understand why you are one of these. When you chose faith in that dark moment, you weren't learning something new. You were remembering something ancient, not intellectually. This clarifies that your knowledge isn't just mental understanding. It is not theology you studied. It is not philosophy you adopted. It is not religion you practice. Cellularly means at the level of your very essence, in your DNA, in your energy, in the core of who you are. You know because you are not because you learned. This one carries the frequency we intended for all of them. This is profound. It means you are operating at the original design specification for humanity before the fall, before the forgetting, before the corruption of consciousness. You are demonstrating what humans were meant to be. Light carriers who maintain frequency regardless of circumstances. Souls who choose love even when hate is justified. Beings who trust the divine even when everything suggests they shouldn't. This is the original blueprint, and you are living it, but so few maintain under pressure. Here is the acknowledgement of rarity. Many start with good intentions. Many have moments of spiritual strength. Many experience periods of faith, but maintaining it under sustained pressure. Keeping the light burning when everything tries to extinguish it. Holding the frequency when every circumstance screams at you to lower it. This is where most fail. Not because they are bad people, but because the pressure is designed to be overwhelming, to force compromise, to make light bearers dim their brightness to survive. But you didn't dim, you burned brighter. And that is what caught divine attention. Mark this soul. This is the instruction that changed everything for you. To mark a soul means to place it under special observation, to flag it for priority attention, to ensure that everything connected to it receives elevated review. It is like being moved from the general population to a VIP list, not because you are better, but because you have demonstrated capacity that requires different handling. It will teach others. This is your assignment, your purpose, your reason for going through what you went through. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. The darkness you endured wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to forge you into someone who could guide others through their darkness. The pain you survived wasn't meaningless suffering. It was training for the role you are about to step into. You are being positioned to teach not through words, through being. This last part is crucial. Your teaching will not primarily come through what you say. It will come through who you are, through the frequency you emanate, through the way you handle difficulty, through the grace you display under pressure, through the light that others cannot help but notice when they are near you. People will be drawn to you without understanding why. They will feel safer around you without knowing the reason. They will find hope in your presence without you saying a word, because you carry a frequency that their souls recognize as truth. And that frequency teaches them that what you have done is possible for them too. After God's statement, after the marking of your soul, something else happened that you need to know about. The attack stopped working. Let me explain this carefully, because it is important you understand the mechanics in the spiritual realm. There are forces that oppose light, not because they are inherently evil in some cartoon villain sense, but because darkness naturally resists light. It is how the system works. Opposition creates strength. Resistance builds capacity. Challenges forge character. So a certain level of opposition is actually part of the design. It is meant to help you grow, but there is another level of opposition. Targeted attacks designed not to strengthen you, but to break you, to stop your progress, to prevent you from reaching your full potential. These attacks come from entities that recognize light bearers and specifically target them because they understand the threat that awakened souls pose to systems of darkness. You have been under these attacks. That is why things have been so difficult. That is why the pressure has been so intense. That is why it has felt like everything was trying to stop you, because it was. But when your soul was marked, when divine attention was officially placed on your case, when your classification changed to chosen one operating under special protection, the permission structure changed. Those entities that were attacking you, they lost authorization to continue, not because they became afraid, but because they were reassigned, told to back off, given new targets. Because attacking someone under divine protection violates protocols even in the dark realms. Think of it like diplomatic immunity. Once you are flagged at a certain level, opposing forces cannot touch you without consequences they are not willing to face. So the attacks don't just fail, they reverse. The energy they send toward you bounces back toward them. The traps they set for you catch them instead. The obstacles they place in your path become obstacles in theirs. This is already happening in your life. You have noticed it. Things that used to trip you up don't work anymore. People who used to drain you cannot seem to get near you. Situations that used to trigger you don't affect you the same way. This isn't random. It is the result of your new classification. The attacks not only fail, they reverse. Now, I need to explain what changed practically as a result of all this. When God expressed that impression about your soul, when Michael knelt in recognition, when your case was marked for special attention, something called accelerated fulfillment was activated. Under normal circumstances, chosen ones receive their blessings and assignments according to standard timelines, years of preparation before major releases, gradual increase before substantial blessings, step-by-step progression toward purpose. But accelerated fulfillment changes this. It means heaven has decided you have demonstrated enough to deserve faster advancement, that the quality of your character has eliminated the need for extended preparation periods, that what you have already proven qualifies you to receive what others would need more time to obtain in practical terms. This means several things. Blessings that were scheduled for later are being moved forward. Opportunities that were planned for future seasons are being released now. Doors that weren't supposed to open yet are being unlocked ahead of schedule. You have already begun to see this. Things happening faster than expected movement in areas that had been stagnant. Breakthroughs appearing earlier than you anticipated. This will intensify. The acceleration is just beginning. It also means opposition is being systematically neutralized, not just temporarily blocked, but permanently removed. Enemies are being reassigned. Attacks are being prohibited. The normal resistance that slows down chosen ones has been lifted from your path. You are entering a season of unusual favor, not because you earned it through perfect performance, but because you demonstrated character that qualifies you for protection at the highest level. Every soul that reaches archangelic level review receives a classification, a designation that summarizes their core spiritual identity. This classification follows them for the rest of their earthly journey and beyond. Your classification has been recorded as proven warrior of the light. Let me explain what each part means. Proven means tested through action, not just potential. Many chosen ones have potential for warrior status. Few demonstrated under real conditions. You did. Your classification isn't based on what you could do. It is based on what you already did. Warrior means someone operating in active spiritual combat, not passive observation. You are not just receiving truth, you are embodying it. You don't just believe in the light. You are actively advancing it toward darkness. Of the light specifies the frequency from which you operate. Even warriors can fight from different frequencies. Some fight from anger, which is effective but limited. Some fight from duty, which is sustainable but lacks power. But fighting from the light means fighting from love, grace, and genuine goodness. This is the highest frequency of spiritual warfare. You fight from the light. You responded to darkness not by becoming darkness, but by being more intensely light. This is what made your response so devastatingly effective and so impressively rare. This classification follows you now. It is how you are known in the celestial records. It is how angels refer to your case. It is the lens through which heaven sees everything connected to your life, and it changes how you will be handled from this point forward. Proven warriors of the light receive priority assignment of resources. Your prayers move to the front of the line. Your needs are attended to before standard processing. Your situation receives attention that others don't receive, not because you are better than other souls, but because you have demonstrated being capable of handling elevated responsibility. Heaven invests more in those who demonstrate trustworthiness with what has already been given to them. When the discussion of your case concluded, when your classification was officially recorded, when the protocols for your accelerated fulfillment were activated, something was added to your record. A personal note from the Divine Council. This isn't something every soul receives. It is reserved for cases that genuinely impacted celestial observers. Cases that demonstrated something worth remembering. Cases that will be referenced as examples for future generations. Your case received such a note. Let me share what it says. Because this was designed specifically for you, to the chosen one receiving this message, your response to pain has been recorded as evidence that human souls can operate at frequencies we didn't expect them to reach while still in physical form. You have reminded us that the limitation we sometimes perceive in humanity is not inherent to human design, but rather results from the choices humans make under pressure. You chose differently, and in doing so, you expanded what we understand as possible for your species. Your file has been marked for special observation, not because you need correction, but because your progress serves as a case study of how chosen ones can maximize their potential even under adverse conditions. You are being positioned for assignments that match your demonstrated capacity. These assignments are not punishment. They are privilege. You have proven capable of handling difficulty with grace. So you will be entrusted with situations where grace is desperately needed. The attitude that impressed us will continue to be tested, not because we doubt you, but because continued demonstration strengthens your capacity and serves as ongoing evidence for others. You have made heaven proud. This isn't flattery, it is documented evaluation. Walk forward knowing your case has been noticed at the highest levels, and that everything coming toward you has been filtered through recognition of who you have proven yourself to be. This message was meant to reach you. You were meant to find this video at this exact moment in your journey when you needed confirmation that your choices mattered, when you needed evidence that heaven was watching, when you needed to know that everything you have endured has been building toward something. Now you know your attitude impressed God. Archangel Michael didn't expect it. The celestial council recorded it, and your entire future has been recalibrated based on what you demonstrated. You didn't know this was happening when you made those decisions. You didn't know heaven was watching when you chose grace over bitterness. You didn't know your response would activate this level of attention. But that is precisely what makes it so powerful. You weren't performing for an audience. You weren't trying to impress divine observers. You were simply being who you are. And who you are impressed the Creator of everything closing. If this revelation resonated in the deepest part of your soul, and you confirm you are a chosen one whose attitude captured divine attention, write 777 in the comments to amplify this frequency of celestial recognition. Subscribe to this channel and activate all notifications to receive more revelations about how heaven is watching your journey and orchestrating your victory. Share this video with someone who also needs to know that their silent choices and private victories are being recorded and will be rewarded. And before you go, click on the video that is appearing on your screen right now to discover exactly how your classification as a proven warrior of the light activates specific angelic assignments that are already being deployed in your favor. Together, we are stronger.